Good evening and welcome. It's 8 p.m. on the clock. It's time for the day's top stories on the news here on NDTV. I'm Ankit Tyagi. Fear driving migrants out of Gurugram. Migrants choose life over livelihood. We bring you the ground story from the millennial city day after clashes broke out in adjoining Noor. Upset over the repeated disruptions in the Lok Sabha, Speaker decides to skip, in fact, the proceedings today. Delhi Services Bill, the discussion could not take place amid uproar. Om Birla remains absent from the Speaker's chair. Another cheetah death at the Kuno National Park, 9th death in just 5 months, put question marks over Project Cheetah. No pay parity in allowances for the VIP security causes heartburn as far as the security forces are concerned. The government has said equal allowances are under consideration. Matter raised up in the parliament. Fitch strips United States of AAA rating, concerns over mounting debt. Trouble continues for former US President Donald Trump, indicted for the third time, charged with attempt to overturn 2020 presidential polls. Two days after the violence started in the state of Haryana, in the Noor area, after a religious procession came under a lot of, in fact, attack, and then that resulted in adjoining violence in other places as well. Gurugram, the millennial city, is facing the brunt of it. Till yesterday night, there were sporadic incidents of violence, burning of markets and targeted areas where miscreants are now roaming free, intimidating, threatening people from a particular community to leave the state. The situation on the ground, though calm, remains tense. This is what NDTV saw through the day, the story of those who have been hit hardest during these riots.
Life over livelihood. Many migrant workers are making that choice, packing their bags and leaving the Millennium City. Those left behind are terrified.
गुजारिश है आप सबसे, यहाँ से सरकार से और जितने भी लोकल सर भाई हमारा बंधु है, सबसे हमारा निवेदन है कि हम लोग को सुरक्षित रखें.
40-year-old Safia, a domestic help, moved to Gurugram from West Bengal less than a year ago.
सारी बोल रहा है जो खाली करना पड़ेगा, सारी तो चला गया. जिसके पास पैसा है, हम लोग के पास पैसा नहीं है, हम लोग तो नहीं जाने पाई. हम लोग तो यही रुक गए. फिर आके रात में मारपीट करेगा, कोई मार देगा, रास्ता में नहीं निकालने देते हैं. खाना पीना भी घर में थोड़ा मोड़ा है, 2 दिन चलेगा, 2 दिन का ज़्यादा नहीं चलेगा. उसके बाद नहीं होगा. क्या करेंगे, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कुछ.
Her son, Shamim Hussain, a food delivery agent, says they are being intimidated.
कुछ कल लोकल बंदे आए थे 50-60, तो आके बोला कि जितने भी तुम हो बंगाल से आए हो तो यहाँ रूम खाली करके चले जाओ. 100 फैमिली रहते, 100 घर हैं यहाँ पर टोटल. 100 में से 90 चले गए, 10 रह रहे हैं हम लोग. जो जिसके पास पैसा नहीं है वही रोक रहे हैं अभी, बाकी तो सब चले गए. ये बच्चा है, इसके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा डर है. अभी ये सब मुश्किल फेस करना पड़ा है. बीवी भी डर गई, वो तो रात से रो रही है कल से.
This isn't the story of one family. Thousands in Gurugram have had sleepless nights after a 22-year-old man named Saad died in communal violence on Monday, and many shops and cars have been burnt ever since. In this luxurious residential society in Gurugram Sector 70, a housekeeping worker allegedly was beaten up yesterday by a mob of around 70 to 80 people. According to the people who work here, that housekeeping worker was first beaten up and then threatened to not come to work here. And that is what has happened. Around 20 housekeeping workers who used to work in this society have not shown up for work today. So as the violence in Gurugram is clearly reducing the fear that it has left in the minds of the communities has kept them away from leading a normal life. कितने लोग आपके अंडर काम करते हैं? 30 हाउसकीपर्स आपके अंडर हैं. 30 में से कोई भी काम?
4 आया. 4. कल हमारा एक हाउसकीपिंग को मारा था वहाँ पे रास्ते पे. वो गाड़ी लेके जा रहा था, उससे नाम पूछा, नाम पूछ के नाम बताया. आगे एक बात भी नहीं बोला, सीधा मार चालू हो गया.
बीवी है मेरे बच्चे, तो बोल रहा हूँ 4 दिन में जन्म नहीं देते हुआ. 4 दिन में नहीं हुआ जन्म देते हुए.
4 दिन पहले आपका बच्चा हुआ?
4 दिन पहले बच्चा, मतलब 29 तारीख 12:26 मेरा बेटा पैदा हुआ है. ठीक है, तो उसको लेकर मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा? मैं अभी कच्चा है वो, जाऊँगा लेके कहाँ मैं?
हम तो गरीब हैं, हमें तो इधर रहना ही है. तो अब ये चले जाएंगे और बाकी हमें भुगतना पड़ेगा. मैं गरीब हूँ, मैं मर जाऊँगा, इधर ही रहूँगा. मेरा देश है ये. मैं कहीं नहीं जाने वाला छोड़ के.
हम लोग बंगाल से आए हुए हैं, कमाने खाने के लिए आए हैं. हमारा किसी के साथ लड़ाई झगड़ा नहीं है, किसी के साथ हम मारपीट करने नहीं है. यहाँ हमारा कोई नहीं है. अगर हमको डर सा लगा रहता है, अगर कोई रात में आके हमको पीट देगा तो हम कहाँ जाएंगे?
डर से ही जा रहा हूँ, लेकिन हमारा कुछ होगा तो कोई मानता नहीं, लेकिन हमारा बच्चे को कुछ हो गया तो मैं यही डर से जा रहा हूँ.
While recording, we heard 2 goons on a bike asking people to leave. As families live in this fear, the Gurugram administration says the situation is now normal, while the Rapid Action Force carried out flag marches across the city.
In last 20 odd hours, there has not been even a single incident. Some news came regarding the migrant workers and they being asked to vacate their premises, and they are being assured that nobody has to leave and the administration is standing with them.
8 people have been arrested for yesterday's vandalism and 15 FIRs have been filed. The Gurugram skyline, marked with high-rise buildings, was contrasted with ashes 3 days after the new violence spread to the city. While the city awaits normalcy, several schools have been shut for the rest of the week, while employees in the multinational cooperation hub have been asked to work from home. You'll see houses locked everywhere. There are just locks on houses. People have left. Hundreds of people have left, and there are just locks here outside because people have left out of fear. It is good to know that some people are saying the situation is peaceful, the police is giving them protection, so that is why the situation is getting better. But indeed, the fear that the violence has left in the minds of these people is unfortunately going to last a little longer than this, even after the police protection, and that's what we can see in these locked doors. In Haryana's Gurugram, with camera person Manoj Thakur, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
Hardest hit are those who are only trying to make a living as far as these cities are concerned. Now, moving on, today there was protest called all across the city of Delhi by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. This was happening while the Supreme Court was hearing a petition on the situation in Nu and the violence that took place in Haryana, and also about banning these rallies. The Supreme Court made some important observations. The court said heavy police deployment should be made and CCTVs should be put so that everything can be recorded. The Supreme Court the top court also told the authorities ensure tight security, take appropriate action against hate speeches. Also, the court directed that there should be deployment of CCTV cameras to record the rallies, deploy adequate force, including the Central Armed Police Forces, so that any eventuality can be tackled with. Let's move on now. It was a similar story on day 10th of the monsoon session of the Parliament. The Lok Sabha, in fact, saw ruckus and was adjourned till tomorrow. My colleague Megha is joining us. Megha, it's the same story, as I said, that keeps repeating itself day in, day out. Today, even the Speaker was so angry that he did not even turn up for the proceedings.
Well, that's right, Ankit. The Speaker is just so disappointed. He's angry, he's upset, he's annoyed. And he says that, he's actually not making any distinction between the Treasury bench's MPs and the opposition MPs. He's saying that he's angry with everyone, that he is disappointed with the way they have been behaving all of these days. Today, the 10th day, and the House could not function. In fact, every day, the Speaker has been appealing to the Member of Parliament to at least ensure that they maintain the decorum inside the House, that they allow the House to function, and if they don't, then how will the legislative business go ahead? In amongst all of this din, Ankit, we have seen in the last 10 days that the government has been, if you were to believe them, they say we are compelled to bring in lay the papers and bring in the bills and get them passed because opposition is just not listening to them. So the speaker today said that he's not said anything on record, but he has been speaking to people close to him, and he says he is so hurt with everything that's been happening in the last 10 days that he doesn't feel like occupying the chair anymore. So he did not come to the House today. We are hoping that he'd be back tomorrow, but today at least he stayed away from the Lok Sabha, and despite the fact that there was a 3-line whip for the Bharatiya Janata Party members to be present today because they were expecting the Delhi Ordinance Bill to come in for discussion and voting, that also could not be done. But let's hear what the Speaker has been saying day on day and what he has to, his appeal to the parliamentarians.
आपका ये व्यवहार उचित नहीं है। मैं फिर बता रहा हूं आपको, देश पूरा देख रहा है। मैं फिर आपको चेतावनी दे रहा हूं कि मुझे कुछ सदस्यों के नाम करना पड़ेगा, नेम करना पड़ेगा। मैं आपको फिर चेतावनी दे रहा हूं कि अब सदन की गरिमा और मर्यादा बनाए रखने के लिए मुझे सदन में कार्रवाई करनी पड़ेगी।
The appeal going out from the Speaker every single day, but it falls on deaf ears. There's absolutely no difference that his words have been able to make in the last 10 days. And hence today, he did a no-show in the Lok Sabha. Tomorrow again, there's a 3-line whip for the Bharatiya Janata Party members. Of course, the BJP and the government, they are hoping that they'll be able to bring in the Delhi Ordinance Bill and get it voted upon. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Important legislative business completely being shouted down in this ruckus in the parliament. Megha, thank you for joining us with all those details. Meanwhile, 21 opposition alliance MPs, those who had gone to Manipur, met the president today to apprise her of the situation in the state. The meeting with the president took place in the leadership of Mallikarjun Kharge. The India leaders gave a signed memorandum to the president apprising her of the serious situation and also requested her to ask the government to hold the discussion in the parliament over the Manipur issue under section 267 and also ask the Prime Minister to apprise the parliament of the situation in the state. Meanwhile, the Congress party is all gearing up for the 2024 elections. An important meeting, in fact, took place today in the national capital. The Congress reach out to the beneficiaries of the various schemes was also discussed in this meeting with the central leadership that included Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi along with the local leadership. Efforts to keep the 42% votes polled in the assembly elections and the factors that went against the BJP and the JDS in the elections were discussed. The party also discussed a scenario where the BJP and JDS could have a pre-poll alliance. The main point of Rahul Gandhi's message to the leaders of Karnataka was zero tolerance on corruption. Rahul Gandhi also said that he made it clear at the meeting that Karnataka leaders and ministers that there should be no allegations of corruption and we have to deliver the promises which have been made to the people. Meanwhile, sticking to Karnataka, Nandini milk brand, which hit the headlines in the run-up to the Karnataka election, is again embroiled in politics. In fact, the milk war in Karnataka has started again between the BJP and the Congress over Tirupati laddus. In fact, the politics over the milk has boiled over as far as the Nandini ghee and its consumption in Tirupati laddus is concerned. The BJP has accused the Congress government of stopping the Nandini ghee supply. Meanwhile, the Congress has replied and to the BJP saying that it was the party in power a year and a half back which in fact started this entire problem. Take a look.
The Tirupati Laddu has taken political center stage in Karnataka in what appears to be yet another case of milking Karnataka's dairy brand Nandini for politics. With the BJP and the Congress blaming each other for missing out on the opportunity to supply ghee for making Tirupati laddus. State BJP chief Nalin Kumar Katil accused the Congress of stopping the supply of Nandini ghee to the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam because of its indifference towards Hindu beliefs and devotion. BJP leader C.T. Ravi blamed the state government that increased the price of Nandini milk from August and said, thanks to the incompetent Congress government, Nandini will no longer supply ghee to prepare the famous Tirupati laddus. Retorting, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah said that the supply of Nandini ghee to the Tirumala temple last happened in 2021 and asked if the BJP that was in power at the time is anti-Hindu devotion. The Chief Minister tweeted that the supply of Nandini ghee to Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh has not been stopped today or yesterday. The supply of ghee to Tirupati was suspended 1.5 years ago during the BJP government's tenure. The Chief Minister said, if the Tirupati temple agrees to give the price we asked for in the interest of the state's farmers, we have no problem in supplying ghee. The Tirumala temple authorities have clarified that ghee is bought only through e-tenders issued every 6 months. And the last tender was issued in March 2023 when the KMF did not even participate.
The laddu which is being made in TTD has always been outstanding with taste, color and longevity. In the recent tenders, that is March 2023, even KMF did not participate and offered the rate. So since TTD is a government organization, it is not possible to give the order on nomination basis to anybody. It has to be competitive tender.
The Karnataka government's claim that the taste of Tirupati laddu has changed ever since they stopped using Nandini ghee has offended the Tirumala temple authorities, who are mighty proud of their GI certified laddu. So, is it politics over a laddu, or yet again about milking Nandini for politics? With Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru and camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Another worrying story from the Kuno National Park, where another cheetah has died this morning, making this the 9th big cat death in just about 5 months. A female cheetah, Dhatri, was found dead this morning. To determine the cause of the death, a post-mortem is being conducted. This is what the press note by the authorities from the park has stated. The 9 cheetahs who have died at the national park in Madhya Pradesh include 3 cubs. In September last year, the national park had seen reintroduction of 20 adult cheetahs brought in from Namibia and South Africa. 4 cubs had been born since then. Now, 2 male cheetahs had died in a span of 3 days last month, with Tejas dying on July 11th and Suraj, whose body was found on July 14th. Now, this has raised question marks on the entire project.
अभी आज एक दुखद समाचार प्राप्त हुआ है। टिब्लिसी नाम की, जिसको धात्री नाम दिया गया था, उस मादा चीते का आज मौत हुई है और मौत के कारण का पता लगाने के लिए हम लोग पोस्टमार्टम कर रहे हैं। उसकी रिपोर्ट आने के बाद ही स्थिति स्पष्ट हो पाएगी। माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के आदेश में भी इस बात का उल्लेख है कि इस प्रोजेक्ट को एक एक्सपेरिमेंट की भांति इसको लागू किया जाना है। तो इससे स्पष्ट है कि हमारी जो लर्निंग्स होंगी, हम उससे सीख करके आगे बढ़ेंगे प्रोजेक्ट में। और अभी तक जो मौत हुई है उसमें ज़्यादातर मौतें प्राकृतिक कारणों से ही हुई हैं, बल्कि लगभग 100% मौतें प्राकृतिक कारणों से हुई हैं।
Moving on now, in fact, guiding VVIPs has got its tensions and also got its benefits, the special allowances too, but this is only for a selected few. The gap between allowances among the forces has led to a lot of heartburn. On Tuesday, Home Ministry informed Lok Sabha that this issue of equal allowances for forces in VVIP duty is now being under consideration.
Less money is spent on guarding Union Home Minister Amit Shah as compared to Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. This is because the CRPF who guards the Home Minister is paid less than the NSG who guards the Defence Minister. This disparity has now come up for debate. The SPG, which provides security only to the Prime Minister, gets about 40% more allowance as compared to Central Armed Police Force, while the NSG that provides security to about dozen protectees gets over 25% more allowance. This issue has also been raised in the Lok Sabha.
बड़ी अफसोसनाक बात है कि जो सीआरपीएफ के पर्सनल वीआईपी सिक्योरिटी में जो लगाए गए हैं उनको स्पेशल सिक्योरिटी अलाउंस नहीं दिया जा रहा है। ये बनाया गया था 2020 में, इसको रेगुलाइज किया गया 2023 में। तो जब वो वही मेहनत कर रहे हैं जो एसपीजी और एनएसजी करता है, उनकी कैपेबिलिटीज़ में, उनके टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग में कोई फ़र्क नहीं है। तो ये बड़ी गलत बात है और सरकार ने जवाब दिया कि अंडर कंसिडरेशन। ये अंडर कंसिडरेशन बड़ा ही डेंजरस टर्म होता है, वो कभी नहीं होगा। इसलिए हम डिमांड करते हैं कि फ़ौरन मोदी सरकार इनको स्पेशल सिक्योरिटी अलाउंस दे।
The Ministry of Home Affairs has clarified that the Central Armed Police Force personnel who are deputed to SPG, NSG get special security allowance. CRPF personnel posted to VIP security units and those guarding VIPs do not get this allowance. This is because VIP Security Wing Directorate of CRPF was created on an ad hoc basis on June 1st, 2020 and was regularized on 31st January 2023. So in 2017, the 7th Central Pay Commission did not consider it. NDTV has now learned that the MHA has sought a similar proposal from ITBP and CISF so that the parity between the forces can be maintained. As many as 500 VVIPs are guarded by these Central Armed Police Forces, but there is a clear disparity as far as their special allowances are concerned, and this is in turn impacting their psychology. Maybe that is why the Home Ministry is now working on a proposal so that there is a parity between them. In New Delhi, this is Neeta Sharma reporting for NDTV.
Some international news now. Fitch ratings have downgraded the United States credit rating to an AA+ from a AAA rating with a stable outlook, surprising investors across the globe. The move comes as debts mount at the federal, state and local levels. According to the Fitch, ballooning fiscal deficits and erosion of governance have caused repeated debt limit emergencies over the past 2 decades in the United States of America.
Specifically on India flows, last 3 months we have seen very strong inflows, unprecedented inflows, almost like $3 billion or $3.5 billion on a monthly basis. And partly of that is to do because the outflows which happened out of India at the beginning of the calendar year, which the money which moved into China, that money to some extent has come back because India offers the best growth kind of matrix, and a lot of long-term investors are now looking at India to participate in that growth.
Meanwhile, trouble mounts for former US President Donald Trump as he has been indicted for the 3rd time. Take a look.
Former US President Donald Trump has been indicted once again. This time, the 77-year-old faces charges related to the 2020 US elections probe. The maximum potential sentence on the most serious charge is 20 years. Trump, the top Republican Party candidate for the 2024 presidential nomination, is charged with 4 felony counts for attempt to overturn the 2020 election. Trump was charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, witness tampering, conspiracy against the rights of citizens and obstruction of and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. Special Counsel Jack Smith said that the Justice Department will seek a speedy trial and that the indictment is only an allegation.
In the meantime, I must emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Trump questioned the timing of the indictments in a Truth Social post and said that they were aimed at derailing his campaign. Even after all of these indictments, Trump is still eligible to run for the US President's office come 2024. Reports say that the US Constitution only requires 3 things. The one must be a natural-born citizen, at least 35 years old, and a resident of the US for at least 14 years. This indictment is the result of an inquiry into events which led up to the 6th January 2021 riot at the US Capitol, when supporters of Trump stormed the Congress in a bid to thwart the certification of Joe Biden's election victory. With Vishal Vivek, NDTV Bureau Report.
All right, those were the top stories on the news this evening. That's all from me. On the other side, I will continue the discussion on the current situation in the state of Haryana, talking about the lapses and also, is it time to rethink Project Cheetah? That coming up on Breaking Views after a short break.